Good afternoon, football fans. Big Al here on this Wednesday, September 6, 2023. It's about that time to take a look at the Week 2 college football schedule and the announcers for every game this weekend. Now, this information is courtesy of 506 Sports. So if you want to see the schedule for yourself, log on to www.506sports.com and click the college football tab on the homepage. And I have a link in the description. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the Week 2 college football television schedule and all the announcers for each game. And this is a pretty straightforward week. All but 3 games are being played on Saturday. You have 1 on Thursday, and you have 2 games on Friday. So let's take a look at those games first. Starting off on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on the ACC network is Murray State at Louisville. Chris Cotter and Mark Herzlich. Then to the 2 games on Friday. First at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on BTN is Indiana State at Indiana. Pat Boylan and Brock Vereen. And at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN2 is Illinois at Kansas. Anish Shroff and Andre Ware. And that brings us now to the Saturday schedule, which kicks off an hour early this week at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on the ACC network with Vanderbilt at Wake Forest, Courtney Lau and Hudson Mason. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games kicking off at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. On ABC, it's number 10 Notre Dame at NC State, Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. On Fox's Big Noon Saturday, it's Nebraska at number 22 Colorado, as Deion Sanders will coach his first home game in Boulder for the Buffs. And that's going to be called by Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. That's on Fox again at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. On ESPN, number 12 Utah at Baylor, Bob Wischusen and Robert Griffin III. On ESPN2 is Purdue at Virginia Tech, Brian Custer and Rod Gilmore. On FS1, Troy at number 15 Kansas State, Eric Collins and Devin Gardner. On ESPNU is James Madison at Virginia, Roy Philpott and Roddy Jones. On the SEC network, Ball State at number 1 Georgia, Taylor Zarzar and Matt Stinchcomb. On ESPN Plus and ACC Network Plus, it's Holy Cross at Bowling Green, or should I say ACC Next, or ACC Network Extra. Let's try that again. On ESPN Plus and ACC Network Extra is Holy Cross at Boston College, Bill Spalding and Mark Herzlich. On BTN, it's Youngstown State at number 5 Ohio State, Corey Provis and Jake Butt. On CBS Sports Network, it's Delaware State at Army, and there is no broadcast team named for this game. And streaming exclusively on Peacock at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific is Delaware at number 7 Penn State, Brandon Burke and Michael Robinson. At 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on ESPN Plus and ACC Next is South Carolina State at Georgia Tech, Chucky Kemp and Forrest Connolly. At 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific on ESPN Plus, New Hampshire at Central Michigan. There is no broadcast team announced for this game. Same deal with Eastern Illinois at Bowling Green at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on ESPN Plus. There's also no broadcast team announced for this one as well. At 2:15 p.m. Eastern, 11:15 a.m. Pacific on the ACC network is Charleston Southern at number 25 Clemson, Drew Carter and Dustin Fox. Then you got a couple games kicking off at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. Both will be streaming on ESPN Plus. One will be also streaming on SEC Network Plus, and that game is Eastern Kentucky at Kentucky with Pete Souza and Takeo Spikes. The other game on ESPN Plus at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific is Southern Utah at BYU with Matt Schumacher and Brad Hopkins. This brings us now to the late afternoon portion of the Saturday schedule. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games kicking off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. On ABC, it's number 23 Texas A&M at Miami, Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer. On the Home Depot Big Ten on CBS, it's UNLV at number 2 Michigan, Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. On Fox, it's Iowa at Iowa State, Jason Benetti and Brock Huard. On ESPN2, number 20 Ole Miss at number 24 Tulane, Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, and Tom Luginbill. On ESPN Plus and ACC Network next is Western Michigan at Syracuse, Richard Cross and Byron Chamberlain. And then you'll have 2 games of regional interest on BTN at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Some will see Richmond at Michigan State, which has no broadcast team announced for this game. Others will see UTEP at Northwestern with Jason Ross Jr. and Anthony Herron. On CBS Sports Network is Wagner at Navy, Chick Hernandez and Randy Cross. And then you have 4 games streaming on ESPN Plus, 4 other games, I should say, streaming on ESPN Plus at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Miami of Ohio at Massachusetts, Southern Illinois at Northern Illinois, and Texas Southern at Toledo. They have no broadcast teams announced for those 3 games. But the 4th game on ESPN Plus at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific does have a broadcast team. That's Texas State at UTSA. Lincoln Rose and Stanford Routt are the announcers for that one. Then you have 4 games at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. On ESPNU, it's Marshall at East Carolina, Jay Alter and Renee Igogila. On the SEC Network, it's Kent State at Arkansas, Dave Neal and Derek Mason. On NBC Sports Bay Area and Mountain West Conference Digital is Cal Poly at San Jose State. No broadcast team has been announced for this game. And streaming exclusively on Mountain West Conference Digital at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific is Portland State at Wyoming. And no broadcast team has been announced for this game either. Then you have a trio of games at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Streaming on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus is Austin Peay at number 9 Tennessee, Justin Kutcher and Dave Steckel. On the Pac-12 Network, it's Tulsa at number 8 Washington with Ted Robinson and Yogi Roth. And streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, Southeast Louisiana at South Alabama. No broadcast team has been announced. At 5:15 p.m. Eastern, 2:15 p.m. Pacific on the ACC network, Appalachian State at number 17 North Carolina, West Durham, and Tim Hasselbeck. And then you've got a host of games on ESPN Plus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them in total. The one game that's streaming on both ESPN Plus and ACC next is Lafayette at number 21 Duke, and there is no broadcast team for that game. As for the other games on ESPN Plus, you've got Southern Methodist at number 18 Oklahoma, Sean Kenny and Ryan Leaf. And of these games, that's the only one with a broadcast team. The rest do not have them, including Duquesne at West Virginia, Fordham at Buffalo, Louisiana at Old Dominion, Morgan State at Akron, New Mexico State at Liberty, Ohio University at Florida International, or rather Florida Atlantic, and UAB at Georgia Southern. Then at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, on the debut of the ACC on the CW is Cincinnati at Pittsburgh, Tom Wormy and James Bates. Also at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus, is North Texas at Florida International, and there is no broadcast team announced for this game. Now to the early evening portion of the schedule. And you got a ton of games in the 7 o'clock hour. In total, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. Kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And another 9 games at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Starting off with the 7 p.m. games first of all, on Fox, it's number 13 Oregon at Texas Tech, Mark Followill and Mark Helfrich. On ESPN, the game of the week hitting number 11 Texas at number 3 Alabama, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. On FS1, it's UCF at Boise State, Eric Collins and Devin Gardner. Streaming on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific is Middle Tennessee State at Missouri, Mark Neely and Barrett Brooks. On NFL Network, it's Houston at Rice, the Battle of the Space City, with Doug Sherman and Teoka Jackson. On the Nevada Sports Network in Reno and Mountain West Conference Digital is Idaho at Nevada. There is no broadcast team announced for this game. And then you have 6 additional games streaming on ESPN Plus, including Memphis at Arkansas State, which will be called by Roger Twibell and Peter Cordelli. The remaining games do not have broadcast teams, including Connecticut at Georgia State, Florida A&M at South Florida, Houston Christian at Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State at Coastal Carolina, and Northwestern State at Louisiana Tech. Now to the 7:30 games on Saturday. On ABC's Saturday Night Football, it's number 19 Wisconsin at Washington State, Mark Jones, Louis Riddick, and Quint Kessenich. On CBS, you've got UCLA at San Diego State, Rich Waltz and Aaron Taylor. On Big Ten Saturday night on NBC, it's Charlotte at Maryland, Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge. On ESPNU is McNeese State at Florida, Beth Mowins and Kirk Morrison. On the SEC Network is Arizona at Mississippi State, Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelic. And then you've got 2 games streaming on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Furman at South Carolina is John Schifrin and Rocky Boyman, while Grambling at number 14 LSU is Clay Matvick and Aaron Murray. Then you have 2 games of regional interest on BTN. Some will see Eastern Michigan at Minnesota, Connor Onion and Tommy Olson. Others will see Temple at Rutgers, Joe Benetti and Brock Vereen. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network is Air Force at Sam Houston State, Carter Blackburn and Robert Turbin. On ESPN Plus, you have a couple games streaming. One is Lamar at Louisiana Monroe. No broadcast team has been announced for this game. And then the other is Nichols at TCU with Ted Emmerich and Taylor McHarway. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on KJZZ TV in Salt Lake City and streaming on Mountain West Conference Digital is Idaho State at Utah State. No broadcast team has been announced for this game. Also streaming on Mountain West Conference Digital is Tennessee Tech at New Mexico, and there's also no broadcast team announced for this game. At 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on the ACC Network, Southern Miss at number 4 Florida State, George Sedano and Orlando Franklin. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on the Pac-12 Network, UC Davis at number 16 Oregon State, Roxy Bernstein and Lincoln Kennedy. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Unimas Fresno in Spanish and streaming on Mountain West Conference Digital is Eastern Washington at Fresno State. There is no broadcast team announced for this game. And then you have 4 games in the late Saturday window. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox is Stanford at number 6 USC, Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman. On ESPN is Auburn at California, Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler. Also at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on FS1, Oklahoma State at Arizona State, and there is no broadcast team announced for this game. The final game of the night is at 11:59 p.m. Eastern, 8:59 p.m. Pacific on Hawaii pay-per-view and Team One Sports. Albany at Hawaii, and there is no broadcast team announced for this game either. And with that, we come to the end of our rundown of the Week 2 college football television schedule and all the broadcast teams for each game. All right, I'm about to get to work on my Week 1 NFL picks video, which will be coming out tomorrow. So make sure you join me for that. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin this weekend. Peace out.